Good morning, this is Alamon, and let's enjoy this sunrise together. This is Subnautica, which is a early access game right now. As I record this, it is on sale on Steam for 25% off. It is sort of part survival game, part sort of a Minecrafty game. There will be a storyline that's not yet implemented, but I've really been enjoying playing around with this, and I wanted to give you a bit of a tour of it. Well, as the name would suggest, lots of water in this game. There's our ship, colonization ship Aurora, which crash landed. Here's our escape pod. We were the only survivor. So this is where you start in the game. You start with your escape pod. And, you'll notice if you look at the HUD here, I have an oxygen meter and I have a health meter. In the full survival version, you also have a food meter and a drink meter. I played around a lot in survival, but I'm in one mode down from that because I ended up deciding that the food and drink was just too distracting from the creative stuff. But we're a bit banged up, so we can fix that. So first aid kit requires some creep vine samples and some bleach. Well, we don't have bleach, but we do have the ingredients to make bleach. We needed a salt deposit and a coral sample. Okay, that's supposed to be faster than that. I actually tweaked some of the time settings right before I started this recording, and it looks like those time settings also apply to crafting, so let's actually fix that. I wanted to make the sunrise nice and slow, so I put that to half speed. Alright, out of the console now. Let's get down in the water. So here we are in the shallow reef biome. Down there we see a creep vine biome. There are several biomes in the game, I think about a dozen or so at present, and there are also stretches of the map that are not yet fully developed, where they're going to be adding more biomes, I believe. The most recently added biome is actually this mountain biome, which is pretty interesting. The sound design is quite incredible. I'm not always going to be talking all the time. You should take the time to just listen to this. It's an amazing piece of work. To come up for air sometimes. Now if we look at our feet, I don't have any flippers on, but that is something that you can craft, so let's pop some on now. Now we can go a lot faster. Here's some acid mushrooms. Use acid mushrooms to create batteries, and eventually you combine batteries to get power cells and all of that. Lots of tech trees. There's a boomerang. Pretty fast. Not as fast as the peeper, though, which is this little guy. Ooh, can I catch you? Maybe. No, I didn't quite. No, I got him. Haha. But I'm not playing survival mode. We don't really need to eat him, so I'll let you go. Now eventually, after you've scrounged around for a lot of resources, I'm looking to see if there are any convenient limestone outcroppings. Here's one, just so I can show you what that looks like. There, just grab some copper ore. There in my inventory. Eventually you'll start crafting things like knives, and eventually something like this. The ultimate in personal mobility, a sea glide. Takes up a lot of inventory space, but lets you move around really fast and has that cool topographical map there. Yeah, emergency.
Remaining.
Just listen to that. Once you start getting enough resources, you might start creating shelters separate from your escape pod.
10 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Looks pretty sparse here, but, you can have lockers, put stuff in. Let's take our quartz and titanium from there. And there's a fabricator, just like on the escape pod. But, well, that's unpowered. We can't have that. So I'm going to go outside with my builder. Let's make a couple solar panels.
Systems online.
Whoops, I just started to deconstruct this by accident. There we go. I don't suppose I have extra glass. No. If I had extra glass, I would slap a window in to show that off, but I didn't think that far ahead. But we can make things like glass corridors, which are just gorgeous. And, did I mention, as you go along in the game, you can make a submarine. I should say at this point, I'm going to show plenty of things that could be considered spoilers if you want to be a purist and sort of figure everything out yourself.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Here's our sea moth. There's that guy, sort of like a manatee. He's harmless. Hello. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, he's a curious little guy. Well, like I said, this is just the shallow reefs. This is where you can easily dive when you don't have, much of an air tank. You're just kind of free diving. Eventually, though, you start to explore. You got to branch out because you don't have all resources in all areas. This is a great place to get your lower level equipment, of course, as well as lots of fish to eat if you're playing survival mode. But eventually, you got to branch out. So this is still all shallow reef. Tons of acid mushrooms. Just a hole in the ground there. Now we're diving a little deeper. Oops, fish hit us, if you heard that sound. Or rather, we hit the fish, I guess. I didn't quite see it. I forget what this biome's called. Grassy plateaus. You can find tons of silver in this biome. For example, that is probably silver. Yeah, no, that's limestone, actually. Whoop! Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, yeah, little red fishies.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Well, we have something for that. I've upgraded my sea moth here. Charging up, see the bottom, and boom! Oh, they're not going to bother us anymore. Oh yeah, I crafted that first aid kit and I didn't actually use it, did I? I should do that. Let's pull over. There we go. Ah, there's my sub. One of the bugs in this game is that you don't pop out in a consistent place relative to the sea moth when you exit it. The sea moth is the submarine that I'm in right now. It also has this cool sonar ability. It's not too terribly helpful, but it does help you see through things like, if there's lots of creep vines in the way blocking your view, you can see the wireframe like this. Alright, let's dive deeper. I do have a module on here that increases the effective maximum depth. Otherwise, we would be reaching our crush depth in a little bit here. But this is modified so it can dive deeper than a normal sea moth could. Because, like I said, you got to keep branching out. You got to keep exploring, finding these new biomes. Oh, that was the hell? A spadefish. That's what that was.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Wow, that was a meaty little blow. I lost my bearings here. Here we go. If you look at our energy at the bottom, we only have 58% energy left in this sub. And you don't want to run out of energy in the middle of nowhere. So it quickly becomes imperative. Whoa, actually, I want to check this out. What is this? Let me get my own lights off of it, because those can be a little blinding. What are you? Can I interact with you? There's a bit of, limestone outcrop. I don't care about that right now. Actually, I may as well, in case it's copper. Nope, don't want titanium. Copper's good, though. Can I slice you? No, I guess it's just decoration. All kinds of weird stuff in this game. That's a big part of the charm, of course. So, as you continue playing, you gotta set up refueling stations. Here's a little base that is right on the border between something called the Sparse Reef, which is over this way, and the Grand Reef, which is downward from there. But this is so deep. This is around 200 meters. Solar power barely works this deep. So I built a tower. It connected to, this is called a moon bay. That's where you dock your sea moths. And I put 3 solar panels because even at this depth, a little under 100, it's still pretty slow to charge. And sea moths take a lot of energy. So I'm going to let that refuel. You can see the power at the top of the screen, how it's draining from the base into the sea moth. There are also ways to, well, there are torpedoes. I don't have those installed because they're not particularly useful at this point. All kinds of modifications. You can only install 4 at a time, though. I have the pressure compensator. I have... this is great, the solar charger. That means you don't really even need to go to a base. But I have a storage module, perimeter defense system, which we showed off, and that sonar. It might be worth it to replace the sonar with the solar charger. Well, this guy's all fueled up.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
All kinds of weird things in this game. In fact, right around here, we have something rather anomalous. Those are floaters that have attached underneath a chunk of land. And it's actually created an island. Oop, alright, that damaged the ship a little bit. Well, I can fix that. Here I have my welder. Alright. I will say, right now as I record this video, there's not a whole lot implemented on this island. You can pick some of the flora, but it doesn't do anything yet. It's mostly, right now, just for decoration, but I'm sure that we're going to get some cool stuff implemented in here as the game continues development.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
So you might think, as you start building more and more bases, and you can see all of the beacons I've put up for different bases that I have, inventory management would get pretty tough, because it's true that the Seamoth has a storage area, or at least I've installed one on my particular Seamoth. But it's actually considerably smaller than your own inventory. It's 1/3 the size.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
So inventory management can be kind of a nightmare, unfortunately. Unless you make a bit of an upgrade. And instead of just having a Seamoth, make a Cyclops. And the Cyclops, of course, can dock the Seamoth. And look at all this. This is where I really keep my inventory. I put in one locker in that other base for show, but this is where I really keep everything because then it's always with me. This is my mobile base. You don't really use this just to drive around and explore. It's more for semi-permanent relocations. If you're going to be in an area for a good long while, this is what you want to bring with you. So let's take her down. Now, in the stock game, this can only dive as deep as... well, when I say stock game, I mean when you first get the submarine, you can only dive down to 100 meters safely. But I've already installed a few things that will help us to dive much deeper than that. I can dive as deep as 500 meters before I start to get into trouble. Actually, before I continue diving any deeper, I'm going to hop out. The ship's tilted a little bit right now because it was in dive mode. I'll just show you downstairs for the moment. So here is the Seamoth Bay. Seamoth is above us. It comes in through these doors. The function of this area is, well, really the lower level in general, is as you take damage, your hull actually starts to spring leaks. And so you'll come down here and there'll be water spraying in and starting to fill up the ship. You might have to swim to get through some portions if it's too flooded, and the ship will start to sink. So that's when you have to whip out the welder. Whoops, hitting the wrong key. And fix leaks as they occur. Thankfully, that only happens when you are considerably deep. So let's take her down. We don't want to smack into anything. Look how deep this goes. Now, one reason that you don't want to take this around just, when you're traveling around in general, is that, unfortunately, it is possible...
Warning, emergency power only.
...to run out of power. And it does gobble up power. Let's take some power cells, though. We can fix this. There, now we have 600 power. When we climbed in this, we had 12 power. That was quite intentional. And as far as I'm concerned, whoop, a little close to that.
Caution, passing safe depth.
320. Oh, no, that's for the Seamoth. The Seamoth safe depth is 325. As long as the Seamoth is inside of the Cyclops, it cannot be damaged by the water outside. Pretty obviously, because it is inside of the hull of the Cyclops. We got to take this slowly. I don't know what you would call it, the bridge, I guess, is at the top of the Cyclops. So as you maneuver through... Ooh, bumped a little bit. As you maneuver through tighter areas, you have to have the roof as close to yourself as you can manage. What did I start to say? Yeah, biomes get deeper and deeper and deeper. You can see right now, top of the screen, depth is 350-something meters. And actually, you know what? I started this with a somewhat restricted inventory. Let me grab back. There's my high-capacity tanks, my compass, my thermometer. May as well grab that other first aid kit, and I actually already have a builder on me. So you upgrade your HUD as the game goes on. So now we can see underneath depth and power, I have a compass. And in the bottom left of the screen, we now have a thermometer. Thermometer seems like kind of a weird thing to have, though. Turns out that what thermometers are useful for is for identifying places where you can put down geothermal power generators. This is my sort of seamount geothermal vent base. You can see I have a geothermal... Well, you can't actually see the generator, but I have one at one of the spouts over here. And then the power is relayed to the base. And things just go down and down and down and down from here. The deepest I've gone down in this area is around 600 meters, which is as far as my sub can currently handle. Currently, humans can dive as deep... well, basically, humans never take damage from diving very deep. The problem is that humans need oxygen. And even with 2 high-capacity tanks, that leaves me with less than 3 minutes worth of oxygen. So I can dive down deep into this abyss. Little bug there. My sea glide should be making all kinds of noises, but for some reason that is not working here. Here we are, 550, which is far deeper than any human has ever dived in real life. About 300 meters or so is the real-world limit. Some more vents down here. Let's get back to base, though. Just listen to that. Alright, I think I'm going to stop this video here. This is Subnautica. There's my submarines again. I've really been enjoying this a heck of a lot. I think eventually I'm going to do a series on it. I've still just been kind of figuring out the game myself, finding out what's fun to do, you know? But it's on sale right now, so I wanted to show it off. Alright, good night, sleep tight. Don't let the Leviathans bite. Bye-bye.